What is going on, everyone? Peace. Yo, what's up? What's good? I'm Luke. Welcome to the first video on the Swish Talks channel. I run another channel with Matthew Newland. It's called South Beach Sports. Link to that channel will be down in the description below if you're like a Miami Heat fan, if you're a Miami Dolphins fan. Anything South Florida sports related, we cover on that channel, so go ahead and check that out. And we really started this second channel to just talk about basketball, give film breakdowns, breaking news. I don't know. I really don't know what the future of this channel is. All I know is that's just going to be basketball related. All right, so let's talk Hawks Bucks game 3 and the main topic of today's video, which is Onyeka Okongwu, and why I believe he's going to be a future Defensive Player of the Year candidate within the next 3 to 4 years. He's really awesome. So the Hawks have been rotating multiple defenders onto Giannis throughout this series. We often see them opt to Clint Capella early in games, and while Capella is a tough interior defender, he really does not have the quickness to consistently stay with Giannis. The Hawks also like to rotate John Collins, who frankly is just not that good of a perimeter defender, and Danilo Gallinari, who, especially at this stage of his career, battling injuries, is slow, unathletic. He can't really do anything against Giannis, and it's embarrassing to watch, to be completely honest. One player that the Hawks like to throw out at Giannis in whichever spot minutes that he gets is Onyeka Okongwu, and I think last night was really his coming out party per se on the defensive end, because Okongwu's been doing this all year. He's shown this incredible defensive potential for throughout the course of this season. But last night we really saw him make some big time plays against Giannis and really show what type of potential he has for the rest of his career. The biggest of these plays has to have been early in the fourth quarter when he forced the jump ball against Giannis. He also had a huge possession, I think it was the very next possession actually, where he showed his veteran-like NBA defensive instincts and caught the attempted lob to Giannis in midair and forced a turnover. We also saw he was able to force another turnover against Giannis like 2 minutes later. And surprisingly, he forced a pass out on a 1v1 drive against Giannis. It was a transition situation. Giannis never passes out of a situation like this. And because Okongwu had been playing such great defense against Giannis up to that point, he passed it out to Pat Connaughton in the corner. And I think Connaughton missed a floater or something like that. So just in these spot minutes, I think Okongwu only played like 9 minutes last night. He really showed that he has the potential and the traits and the skills to really become, like I said, a Defensive Player of the Year candidate in the near future. Offensively, Okongwu is limited. I mean, he really doesn't have that huge of an offensive skill set. There were a lot of comparisons coming into last year's NBA draft about Okongwu that he is a comparison to Bam. And while I do agree that on the defensive end there's a lot of similarities, they both fit this modern NBA big prototype on defense where they're switchable, they're athletic, they can get up and down the floor on the defensive end. But on the offensive end, I really don't see it, at least yet. I think Okongwu will start off his career on the offensive end as more of a screen and roller, a lob finisher. He did have some nice passes last night, so there's that. But as a scorer, there's not really much there for now. He's an okay finisher around the rim. He had that little nice floater. He has a decent floater around the rim. As a jump shooter, we really haven't seen much from him. I tried to find some shooting clips from his season at USC last year. Couldn't really find much. And from the jump shots that I did see, he didn't look super comfortable. And I believe he shot below 30% on mid-range jump shots this year. So that's definitely something that Okongwu will definitely have to improve on throughout the remainder of his career. I thought Mike Budenholzer coached his second consecutive phenomenal game last night. Basically what the Bucks game plan was on defense was to shift all of their attention onto Trae Young and force their secondary shot creators and secondary players such as John Collins, Danilo Gallinari, Bogdan Bogdanovic, and Kevin Huerter to really beat them. and it worked. We saw the Bucks actually adjust with their pick and roll defense. We didn't see Brook Lopez drop to the basket as much. We saw him try to contest the Trae Young floater, and they sent a weak side defender to guard the lob pass. So that was definitely an adjustment before. We saw in game one, it was just basically a 2-on-1 situation with Trae Young and the roller, and Trae Young had 48 points. The pass to the roller was there when Brook Lopez decided to step up. In this game, we saw an adjustment. We saw Brook Lopez drop a little less. He contested Trae Young in that mid-range floater area a little bit more. And the weak side defender, who was often Middleton or Giannis, defended the lob. So that was a great defensive adjustment by Mike Budenholzer. I thought Bogdan Bogdanovic looked a little more nimble out there last night. He looked a little more athletic. He looked a little quicker. Just because he looked better didn't mean he played better. He shot 3 for 16 from the field, which has continued his struggles so far in the playoffs and especially in this series. If the Hawks want any chance at coming back from this 2-1 deficit, they need Bogdanovic to step up. He's really counted on to being that secondary scorer next to Trae Young. And when he's shooting 3 for 16, you're probably not going to win many games. As for the Bucks, they went with this too big lineup often in this game. I think they went to it late in the first quarter. I also saw him use this lineup, I think, late in the third quarter and early in the fourth quarter with Bobby Portis and Brook Lopez. And to my surprise, it wasn't as bad as I thought. What the Bucks like to do, they like to switch everything, positions 1 through 4, and have the 5-man, which is usually Brook Lopez or Bobby Portis, drop in pick and roll coverage. And they did the same thing. We saw Bobby Portis switch on a lot of pick and rolls, and it actually worked out, except for Trae Young, who, does Trae Young stuff. He was able to force a few switches, get a few baskets. But for the most part, this ended up working. Bobby Portis is athletic enough to switch on most offensive players. And I thought this was a nice little, I don't want to say adjustment, but a nice little extra lineup that Budenholzer threw out there to just give the Hawks a different look. Obviously, the top player last night was probably Chris Middleton. He really took over in that second half. He had 20 points in the fourth quarter, which was impressive. He could not miss. He hit so many big-time threes. He finished the game with 38 points, and he played probably his best game of the playoffs so far. I did see quite an interesting take by Kendrick Perkins on Twitter. I'll read this now. He said, "I don't think I need to repeat myself, but I will anyway, damn it. Middleton is the Batman, Giannis is the Robin, and that's okay. 38 points, 20 in the fourth, all timely buckets, carry the hell on. What the hell is that?" I really don't know what to make out of this take. Just because Chris Middleton was the closer in this game and probably has been the closer for the Bucks throughout this season and throughout the playoffs does not necessarily mean he's the Batman of this team. Why would Giannis, who is not a 3-level scorer in the slightest, be your closer when you have Chris Middleton, who's a very, very solid 3-level scorer? I don't really get that. I mean, if you're using that logic, then with those early 2000s Lakers teams, Kobe was the Batman and Shaq was the Robin because Kobe was the perimeter 3-level scorer who would close out games. Obviously, that's not the case. So, I mean, that's quite the take there by Kendrick. Some last second takes that I want to make in this video. I really like the Bucks closing lineup of Giannis at center. I've said over and over again how much I love Giannis at center. And watching him close out games at that position in the playoffs is very fun to watch. I want more Onyeka Okongwu minutes. He's only played 8 to 10 minutes or 8 to 13 minutes a game in these playoffs. And yeah, while he's limited on the offensive end, he's really the only player you have that can guard Giannis. I think it's going to be really interesting to watch in the coming years how the Hawks deal with Capella and Okongwu. I think they really cannot coexist together because they both don't have a jump shot. I don't expect Clint Capella to add any resemblance of a jump shot this late in his career. So we could see the Hawks try to have Okongwu develop a jump shot so those two players can play together because right now how it stands, you cannot keep Okongwu on the bench for the next couple of years. And at the same time, Clint Capella has such great chemistry with Trae Young on pick and rolls that it's going to be tough to ship him. So that's one thing that you guys should watch out for in the next couple of years, how the Hawks deal with this Clint Capella and Onyeka Okongwu center situation. Yes, that's going to be for today, guys. All of our videos are going to be like this, just talking to the mic, talking to you guys, talking about basketball. So go ahead and like and subscribe and comment down below your thoughts on Onyeka Okongwu, who was the main topic of today's video, and just your thoughts on Hawks Bucks Game 3 overall. With that being said, I will catch you later. Peace.